Y'all, welcome back to M. Jones Style. Well, it's the end of March and it's time for another garden tour because the garden is changing so quickly. I mean, every day I come out here, I see something new. I see something that's opening up and waking up in my garden, so I have to keep you posted. So we are going to go on another garden tour. It probably will be the last one for March because this is the end of March, but I hope that you'll enjoy this video. Thank you so much for dropping by. So let's go on this garden tour. Let's go. Okay guys, let's start over here on the east side of my property. I always like to start on this side and to let you know that spring is really springing up. So over here I have my Russian sage and it is coming back from last year. And then over here is the blue mealy sage. And guys, I have several of these planted in my garden because they do so well for me and they come back every year. So I've got a couple of those Russian sage plants here. And as we go on into the gate, you'll see that I have added a few extra things to the garden for this spring, but let's see how things are going that are coming back. So right down here is my rosemary, and I have my arborvitae little gem giants. They came back and they're doing good. I have 3 of those. That's another one there and another one a little bit further down. Here is some more of that mealy blue sage. And I've got my coreopsis. They are coming back from last year. I have another one right over here. And then guys, I added this Nandina in this pot. Now I'm sure it's going to outgrow this pot, but I'm going to leave it in here for a couple of years. This is that First Impressions, I believe, by Southern Living. Over there in the back, I have more of that mealy blue sage. I've got my black-eyed Susans that are starting to pop up and get bigger from last time I showed you. Now right down here is a Bobo hydrangea. Guys, I just don't do very well with hydrangeas, but I'm hoping that it will do something this year. It does have some green foliage on it, so we'll see what happens. Now this plant right here is that East Friesland sage. I have several of these in this garden as well. I like to repeat plants that I know that will perform for me just by trial and error, but these have always come back. Here's another blue mealy sage, another one over there in the distance, and guys, look, they're already starting to bloom. Right down here is a white lantana. I pulled this pot out of the garage where I overwintered it, and so it's doing well. It's that ice plant. Over there is Agara that's coming back. And guys, I transplanted several of my apricot irises back in the fall, and this is one of them. This one hasn't started blooming, but I have some that have. I added this from HEB. It's called Silver Sage. It's a Texas native plant. This plant should do well, and it may outgrow this pot, but hopefully it will stay in that pot for a couple of years. Look at my Gerber daisies. Aren't they doing better? Now they were starting to get a little bit too much sun, so I had to move them around, but right now they're doing well. And right over here is my limelight hydrangea, and look guys, it's putting on new growth, so I might have some hydrangeas for the first time in history. Now look over here. This over here are my alliums. They are starting to peek their heads out. There is one right there in particular, and they're supposed to be purple, so we'll see how they do. Right down here, guys, look at this. This is my clematis. I cannot remember the name of it, but I moved it over here. It was in another area of the garden, and it wasn't doing very well last year, so I dug it up just recently and planted it here, and look what it's doing. So much better because it needed more sun. This is my Peggy Martin rose bush. It's a climber. Guys, I cut it all the way back, and look at it. It has climbed all the way up my arbor, coming on across here. And look at all these buds. I'm getting ready to have a spring show. Now over here, I planted this new pot. It has the Engelmann's Daisy in it, which I got from H-E-B. It's another Texas native. This Creeping Jenny came back from last year, and I stuck it in this pot. Over here is the newest rose bush that I planted, and this is a Zephyrin Druin rose bush. And this rose bush is supposed to start climbing up my arbor and meet with the Peggy Martin up here. And then I'll have this clematis intertwined in between it, and that should just be absolutely gorgeous. Let's go on through the arbor and let's see what's going on around here. So guys, I have some Calicococha over here in this pot that I got from H-E-B. And then my plant here, which is another one of the Mealy Blue Sage, it is growing. I also have my plant over here, and guys, I'm trying to think of the name of it. I cannot think of the name of this plant, but it'll come to me in a little bit and I'll let you know what that is. If not, I'll try to put it on the screen. The last time I tried to put some names on the screen, they didn't take, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I guess it's a user error. This right here are my geraniums. Guys, I overwintered these in my garage, and look at that. They have already started blossoming. I have my violas that are down here. They took a hit when it got cold and hot, but these are hanging on. We'll see how long they hang on, but aren't they beautiful? And then I also picked up this dianthus from H-E-B, and it should have some beautiful pink and white flowers on it. This is another plant that I overwintered in my garage. This is another geranium, and it has pink flowers. And then I also picked up this plant here from H-E-B. This one right here is called a Dianthia. I've never heard of that before, but look at those beautiful flowers on it. Now guys, this over here is that iris that I transplanted from my front yard. I'll give you a better picture of them in just a bit because now they're spreading all over my yard. Okay, here is another East Friesland sage. I'm going to have to cut that back. Look how it's splitting in the middle. I don't like that, but I'll cut that back. And then here is my olive tree that I planted back in the fall, and it seems to be hanging on, so hopefully it will do well. All right, now look at all of this fall obedient plant that I have growing out here, reseeding everywhere, and just making this bed its favorite home. Here is another viola here, and here is another one right here. Here is another one of my Gerber daisies that I recently potted up. This one was another one that wasn't doing well, so as you can see, I moved it over to this area. It's seeming to hang on. I went ahead and pulled my plumeria out of the garage from last year, and hopefully it will start sending out some foliage and some yellow flowers later on in the season. I still have a beautiful show of my autumn joy sedum. It's growing. And as I move around here, I have my hot lip and my red salvia that's throwing off lots and lots of foliage. It should be blooming later on. Over there in the distance is my Henry Duelberg salvia, and it's growing. No flowers yet, but it'll have some pretty soon. Here is another autumn joy sedum that's still growing. And guys, I recently put in this boxwood. This is called a heritage boxwood by Better Boxwood. And I wanted some evergreen interest in this area, so that's why I planted that boxwood there. I cleaned out my lamb's ear and they are starting to push out. Now this pot right here, I'm hoping that it will bounce back. We got a cold snap about 10 days ago and it got a little burned from that cold snap even though I covered it up. But this right here is a mandevilla and it's pink, and right here is some verbena. Over here are my veronica. I have one there and one over there, and some lemon coral sedum that's coming back from last year as well. So all of these are coming back from last year. But this is what I wanted to show you. I moved this iris over here. And guys, look at it. It is just absolutely the most beautiful thing ever. Oh, I just love it so much. I have other iris over here as well. I have a purple one, but it has not started blooming. My lamb's ear, they're starting to send out some more leaves, which is great. And then also I have more of that salvia. I have red and white here. And look at this monster over here. This is Artemisia. It is spreading everywhere. Okay, I think it's gonna be a problem. I am gonna have to keep my eyes on this. It is very, very pretty, but it is kind of a type of plant that's going to need some controlling. So we'll work on that. Now right here is my lantana. It is a native as well, and it's coming back. So I cut back all the dead branches. And look at what's blooming here. This is called Brazos penstemon. It is also a Texas native. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So I've got that going. I've got some blue mist flower that's coming back, and that is going to be a delicious treat for all of the pollinators, especially the monarchs when they come through. Right here is another type of penstemon. I picked this up last year at Lowe's, and this is its second show, so it's doing well. It's kind of mixed in with that blue mist flower. Over here is my white Rose of Sharon, and the name of this one is called, let's see, White Angel Rose of Sharon. So it's getting ready to start putting out some buds, and that should be a beautiful show. And then look over there in the distance, I have more of that beautiful iris. So pretty. Right here is my white Gara, and over here is my Mango Tango Hummingbird Mint. It is an agastache. More of the Greg's Mist Flower. I think that's what I called it. If not, I meant to say Greg's Mist Flower. I have here Gara right here that I transplanted from another part of my yard. And I have this Midnight Penstemon that I also transplanted. And then this right here is my Parapluie Violet Rose of Sharon, and look how tall it's getting. There is some other things that I wanted to show you that I added. I believe this lantana is going to come back. See the little flower, the foliage that's coming up? Now I'm sad about this Platinum Beauty grass. It didn't do very well. We'll see what happens. I added another Sunshine Ligustrum here, and I already had this one over here, and it came back from last year. Here is my phlox that's growing and spreading like crazy. I transplanted this from another area of the yard. And here is my Loropetalum. I had two of them, one died. This one I think is gonna hang on, we'll see. It does need some water, it looks like. more of this penstemon that I purchased from Lowe's last year. And here is another one of them. And another white angel rose of Sharon. And then here is my rose bush, and I cut it back, but guys, look at it. It is getting ready to start blooming. So I'm happy about that. Now let's step on over here to this area of the garden. This right here is a tree that I planted in the fall. It's called an El Nino Catalpa, and it is coming back, guys. It made it through the winter, its first winter, and so I think it's going to be beautiful this year. I certainly do hope so. Let's move on around to this side of the yard. This is the patio area. In the distance over here, you can see my drift roses. They're coral. And beyond that are some little small Nandina. They're called Fire Power Nandina. And they were beautiful in the wintertime. They're evergreen. All right, guys, look what I have growing over here. Look at that. A strawberry. And look at all of these that are coming up too. So I'm going to plant some more strawberries in this pot as well as in this pot over here. So as I stand up on the patio, you can see my lilies that are coming back from last year. I transplanted these from another area of the garden. Here is that Platinum Beauty grass that's not doing very well. And here is another one over here. So I guess I'm just gonna have to dig those up. There are three more things that I want to show you. I want to show you here is my canna. It's red and it has grown back so well. It has a little bit of burn on it, but I think it just needs some water and it will be fine. Here is my smoke bush that I planted in the fall, and it is doing well. And then let's come over here. Look at this, guys. This is my peach tree. It's a heritage peach tree, and it's got blossoms all over it. And you know what that means? That means peaches. So I am excited about that. I am going to keep a close eye on it to make sure that no one gets a chance to eat these peaches except for me and my family. And look over here, my flamethrower redbud. Guys, it came back. So this is going to be a full year of it being in the ground. Look at these beautiful, beautiful leaves. It had flowers all over it, and now they are turning into the leaves, and it's just so beautiful. There is one other thing that I want to show you guys. Now over here, this is a yucca that I planted, and it would never bloom. It's been in the ground probably about a year, but all of a sudden, look at this. Look, 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 look. It's going to have a bloom. Now guys, let's take a quick walk through my shade garden. I have my junipers that are growing down here. I transplanted some of this lamb's ear over here, and it has taken, and I believe it's going to be just fine. Right here are more of the salvia. This one right here is red, and here is a white one that's already blooming. And then right down here is my flame acanthus coming back from last year. And there is one right over there. I'm gonna have to move that over into this bed. Right here is an abelia bush. I have 3 of these. That's one that came back. I planted them in the fall. This one, it came back. And we'll go on around here. Now look at this right here. This is a mom. And guys, it's absolutely just delightful. It is so beautiful when it's in bloom. And that will probably be during the fall, but in the interim, I'm just going to let it climb up this trellis and get ready for some blossoms in the fall. Here is another Gaura that I transplanted, not doing too well, but we'll see how it continues to grow. And look right here. This is a hosta. Now, I told you I do not do well with hostas. This one looked like it was on its last leg in another area of my garden. I dug it up and brought it over here, and it's poking its little head out. So we'll see what happens. Over here is my Turk's cap. It's red. It's coming back. Let me turn this over so that you can see how it looks. There it is right there. I've got my Sprinter boxwoods that are still small but mighty, and they made it through the winter. I have 3 of those. Now right here is another hydrangea. Guys, I'm just spending all my money on hydrangeas and they never perform for me, but I'm just gonna keep trying. Here's another one here. It does have some green foliage on it, so we'll see. And then here is another one right here. Now let's move on over here. Now I don't know what this is going to do, but this is my oak leaf hydrangea. It doesn't look good at all, guys. I'm gonna get in here and maybe give it some food, play around with it and see if some water and see if it won't start to turn a leaf. All right, now here is my beautyberry bush that's growing. I've had to put some cages around these things because I noticed that some things were being bitten, and I believe it's bunnies that are coming in and biting my stuff, so I had to put some cages around them until they can get big enough to stand on their own. Here is another Rose of Sharon. It is purple. My sister gave that to me. And then I have some holly bushes here. They're not doing too well, but hopefully it'll hang on and make it through. Here's my kaleidoscope abelia that I planted in the fall. All of this was planted in the fall, guys. Another one of those holly bushes. And over here under this cage is another Rose of Sharon, and it's pink. Okay, guys, so we're gonna go around to the front because there are just a couple of things that I want to show you around there that's coming back and doing well. Now, guys, as I head on over to the front, I showed you this plant the last video, but I couldn't remember what it was and the name wouldn't come up on the screen, but it is called let's see, Miner's Merlot Euphorbia. Isn't that a beautiful plant? I just love it. Okay, let's go on around to the front. Okay, guys, we're going on around to the front of the house. My Cotoneaster, it's getting bigger every day. It's a slow grower, but it sure is a pretty plant, and it even has flowers on it as well. Over here are some more iris. Those are purple. And then off in here are some iris that are yellow. They have not bloomed yet. But look at my bridals wreath. It has bloomed every year. The year that we had the really, really bad ice storm and we were out of electricity for about 5 days, I thought I was going to lose it, but it finally is starting to come back, and I had someone to cut it and they didn't cut it properly. So I'm slowly trying to get it back into shape because it's supposed to be cascading and it was just growing straight up. Now this was another plant that was affected by that storm, but I made it into a topiary and it's doing well. This is the Yaupon holly. And look at all of my Henry Duelberg salvia. All of this has come back within the last couple of weeks. Over there is an abelia bush. It normally has white flowers on it. I've got the Texas sage here. I had to cut this back because it was leaning. Another one of my abelias right here. Another Texas sage. And a boxwood right here. And I don't really know why I put that there, but it's there, and I said I'm gonna keep it there. I may shape it into something really pretty, like a little topiary or something. But guys, this is where I got all of those irises from, the peach colored irises. I thinned this out and made me some new beds with these iris. Back over there is the Society garlic. It will soon be having some purple flowers. More of that Henry Duelberg that I did not plant. It just self-seeded. Another one of my abelias that's doing quite well. More of my dwarf Yaupon hollies. No, is this hollies? I can't remember. Anyway, these are my hedges, and there are more of them over here. And here are some irises that are very beautiful. They are lilac and a buttery color on the same stem. Let's go on up on the porch and into my fragrance garden or my perfume garden. Look at this magnificent rose bush. It's called a Carefree Beauty Rose Bush. I purchased it from Antique Rose Emporium, and it has just done so well. It's about 3 or 4 years old. I have a penstemon that's coming back. This is the penstemon that I transplanted over to my backyard. Here is my purple heart coming back this year in this pot. I try to keep it contained by keeping it in a pot. Over here is my yellow popcorn drift rose. These are more irises, but they are different types of irises. And when they bloom, I'll take pictures and let you guys see them. But look over here. Oh, it's trying to hide on me, but I found you. Look off in there. That is this Carefree Beauty Rose Bush with lots and lots of buds on it. They are going to be bursting open very soon. This right here is my peach drift rose. And guys, I thought this was a goner. Now, it may not bloom, but this is my peony that came back, and it was full of ants. And I poured some orange oil and water and dish soap. It was a mixture, and killed them off, and it's still growing. More of that beautiful peach color or apricot iris. And then over in this area are more of my shrubs, which include the Texas sage, the abelia, Henry Duelberg salvia, and more of the irises. Oh, guys, look right here. This is a mom that comes back every year. It's about 5 years old, but everything needs a little water. We haven't had any water, guys, and we need some water. So I am going to get out here this evening and make sure that everything is watered. But that's just a little clip of what's going on so far in March. As a matter of fact, close to the end of March. So guys, you would have to agree with me, my garden has really changed in the last couple of weeks. We have had cold weather, hot weather, medium weather, but all in all, the garden is opening up and getting ready for this wonderful spring season, and I just cannot wait. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please come back and join me. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.